we have the current stock market update for Mara Holdings Incorporated, stock ticker MARA. Before we begin with today's chart analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts below in the comments section so that other traders can find this information more easily on the platform. So here we have the 1 hour price chart. This was a request from a channel member. I believe that he said that he thought that he got into the trade a bit too early because we did start to see some declines here, which does look to be the case. So we will go over some of these price zones here and try to figure out what is most likely to occur next with this stock. All of these cryptocurrency stocks tend to move in lockstep with one another. There's a heavy positive correlation between them. Doesn't necessarily mean that they all trade in the same direction. But for example, MicroStrategy is trading significantly lower at the moment. I did just release a video on MicroStrategy. I suggest people take a look at that one as well, because that one is also trading under a fair amount of selling pressure right now. Personally, this price chart looks a bit better to me than MicroStrategy right now, because we are starting to move right back into this major support zone that I've been watching now for quite some time, right around $15. So ideally, this would have been the better entry point, something closer to 15. You can't always get those exact round numbers like that. You do sort of often need to place the entry order, the buy order, a little bit in advance of those areas. So I might have done it around 15, 20 or somewhere around there. And it might not necessarily get filled also. That's also a risk. They just sort of choose the wrong price level. But that's generally how I would look at these things. I would prefer to buy closer to a support zone, and we are sort of moving into a support zone at the moment. So the person that asked about this, if you're in this trade, I wouldn't recommend selling right here. You could look at a potential stop loss placement below maybe 1470 or so. I'd probably put it around 1445, maybe just get it below that 1450 area a little bit to give yourself a little bit of space. Because we could start to see some further price movements, especially if Bitcoin declines, or if we see some additional downside price movements in MicroStrategy. But overall, as far as the price chart is concerned, I would say that this price chart to me looks like it's got a bit more upside potential, or at least less downside risk than MicroStrategy. I would probably phrase it that way. I think that MicroStrategy probably has more potential risk to the downside than this one, because you are trading fairly closely here into a support zone. I don't think it's the worst entry point in the world, to be quite honest. I don't know exactly where he got in, but as long as you're moving, as long as you're trading into the stock during this downside decline here, you were starting to get a bit of a better price. And then if we look a bit longer term here, we should actually redefine some of these price levels, because this recent upward movement almost hit $20 per share. It looks like we got to roughly 1995, just below 1995. But what this tells us is that you did see a little bit of a higher high here. So that is encouraging. But this is also a sharp rejection. So I understand that sounds like I'm speaking out both sides of my mouth here, because there is a bit of a positive here, but then we're also seeing this major decline. So, the way that I would look at this would be, if we do see a break below 15, I would probably stop out there. Personally, because I think then you're looking at a move to at least 1310. And then if you really wanted to buy in, I would probably buy in down there. But this upward price movement here, if we do see a clear break below 1480 or so, something like that, then I would probably start to refer to this movement into 1995 as being a false breakout to the top side. That would be unfortunate if that happened, because this area also marks, we've got a line here for a reason. This was a prior price high at 1883, but it's also this 38.2% Fibonacci retracement of this declining move here. So this is a fairly major price move. From 2730 to 1317. So this entire price move here, the 38% retracement comes in right around 1880 or so. And then, we were seeing share prices break above here. So that is a positive signal, but the follow through was a bit weak. So that's a bit of a warning signal. And then I would say, if we do see share prices break below this prior support zone, I think then you have to start to refer to this 1995 breakout as being a false breakout. We're not there yet. This area has been tested, this $15 area roughly, has been tested on 3 or 4 different occasions. So, there is definitely scope here that we could see a bounce. I mean, it's not impossible. But at this point, I would probably, if I was going to buy in here, I would probably have a tight stop loss on this. I would probably start to set the stop loss for a break below 1465 roughly. I mean, you also have that 1450 area there as well. So that's a bit of a psychological level that could get some buying bounces from there possibly. So I would probably set the stop loss a little bit below there, something around 1440 or 1435, something like that. I think that would be, if we do see breaks into that area, then I do think that you're looking for a retest of 1310, roughly 1317. So I would probably close the position myself and then look to re-enter into those lower 13s. But as it currently stands, I mean, I don't know where he got into the position, but I'm not hugely against the decision because, if the decision to buy was made during this decline, at least you were getting a bit of a better price here. And then, you are getting closer to this $15 level. So I definitely would not stop out here. You could see a bounce at this point. And then if you do see a bounce at this point, you could be looking for a movement easily back into the 20s. The next major area of resistance doesn't come into until we see the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement zone, which is this area here. And that's not seen until 2190. So, you do have a pretty good amount of upside potential here as long as share prices are able to bounce from here. I don't really consider this to be a terrible trade from a risk to reward perspective, because if you're going to stop out around 1440 or so, you're looking at, maybe $1 of downside for, what could be closer to $6 in upside, which would be a very, very strong risk to reward ratio. But you do have to remember that, breaks below this area are going to be significant. And then that would be time to get out of the trade because that would then suggest that this break into 1995 was a false breakout. We saw a failure there at a round number, which was $20. And then, we could be looking at some further downside extension, probably toward this lower 13 area. So here's the current market update for Mara Holdings, stock ticker MARA. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market. Lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership and start trading stocks with the pros.